Guten Morgen. Today is Thursday, 22nd of October, 2020. I am Tanis Coralee Leonhardi, and today I am talking about voting in 2020. So I'm going to break this into segments because I've got a lot to cover. I went through 24 steps to vote this year. So I'm going to break that down into three, if I can remember, three segments. And so let's get started because there's a lot to cover. So the first step in voting is to quit and leave my jobs. Leave. So this started in September 2019. I was attending the University of California, Berkeley as a graduate student in geophysics, and I quit my first job as a professional development liaison in September 2019. Then October 30th, 2019, I quit being a student. I left with no degree after being there for 4.5 years, or not 4.5 years, just under 4.5 years, between 4 and 4.5 years. And I quit my teaching job at the University of California, Berkeley. And then the following day, the 31st of October, 2019, I quit my, this was all before the business day on October 31st. I did the handwritten letters, turned them in to different people, turned in my keys, moved everything out of my office before 9 a.m. on the 31st of October, 2019, and I quit my research job on the 31st of October, 2019 at the University of California, Berkeley. So I had 3 jobs, and I was a student, so got all that done. Whew, all of the stuff moved out of my office in my car, went back to my apartment, picked up some clothes and that kind of thing, and then step 2 was moving home, partial. And I arrived home, there's a rowing machine here, on the evening of Halloween, so the 31st of October 2019. I arrived home, working on my legs, getting the leg workout in the morning. And I arrived home and trick or treat, and my mom was awake to greet me. So a 13-14 hour drive, did that in one go. I was like, I am making it back to Washington State today. So same day I quit my last job, I made it home. Then, once I moved home, first thing to do, when you're at least not at your residence, is submit a change of address with the USPS. So I submitted. And so I did that, submitted a change of address with the USPS, and got my mail forwarding and stuff in early November, got that set up in early November, once my dad and I figured out when we'd finish moving my stuff home from California. And so with this, submitting a change of address isn't the only thing that you want to think about if you're leaving an apartment or something like I was. There's contacting your landlords to make sure, and your roommates to make sure they know you're gone, and so they can start finding someone to fill your spot on the lease. There's also, I was in charge of utilities, so I was gas and electricity and internet. And so I talked to my roommates and got that figured out how to transfer it over. So those are the first 3 steps. So once I did the submit a change of address, I finished moving home. And I will clarify, I was living in Albany, California, which is just north of Berkeley, California. And I moved back to Shoreline, Washington, which is just north of Seattle, Washington State. West Coast, baby. All right, so that's step 4. So I finished moving home. My dad and I packed it all up. I packed everything up, then he flew down, and we got a U-Haul and drove it all back in over 2 days. Didn't take us 24 hours though. And we slept in Oregon the first night, and then finished driving home. And so got back, arrived with all my stuff on November 13th, and I was like, yes, I got it. I ordered my library card, and then I kind of delayed, and then COVID-19 hit, so step 5. Everything gets delayed. The Department of Licensing closes, which is relevant because I need a state ID or a driver's license to be able to vote. So I can't get that. I can't activate my library card. A lot of stuff. And then stuff starts opening up again. And so my mom and I go over to the Lake Forest Park Public Library in Lake Forest Park. And they have voter registration forms outside the library. So I'm like, you know what? I might need this because I'm changing my voter registration from California to Washington. So it's like, on the off chance that I need this, I'll pick it up. So I picked up my voter registration. That was step 6, and I did that on the 22nd of August, 2020. So, fair amount of time covered in these 3 steps. So once I had my physical voter registration form, I was like, I don't know if I'll need it because they have this option. They're really giant post-it notes. So you can stick to each other. So I can, tear them off and post them all around the room and be like, wow, look at all these steps. Okay, anyway. So this is relevant because when you get your enhanced driver's license, so I got my enhanced driver's license, you can say yes to updating your voter registration. So I got my enhanced driver's license and I said yes to that. Getting it updated. Get my enhanced. So I got my enhanced driver's license and I said yes to updating my voter registration, and I did that. Now I'm good to go on the sense I have my state ID, which is doubles as my enhanced driver's license, which is good for quite a while, like a little over 5 years. And I was so excited. Oh, still am excited. Step 8 for our first segment. I remember. We are on to, now that I have updated my registration, how can I check that? And so the Secretary of State office in Washington State has their own website, and they have a place where you can check your voter registration. So step 8 is checking voter registration. Yep, periods are a good thing. Okay, so I go online, I go to the website, I check my voter's registration, and they say, we cannot find your driver's license number. There's like, and I was like, well, that's not good. So what do I do next? That's step 9, segment 2.